everyone, and welcome to another one of my videos. Today is a good day because yesterday Disneyland Paris announced its reopening day finally. We have a date. It's been way too long. Disneyland Paris unfortunately had to close at the end of October 2020 last year because of the pandemic. Obviously, I was actually there on its very final day of opening, and it's been closed ever since because the situation in France hasn't been the best. In fact, the situation in Europe hasn't been the best, but things have started to improve, and yes, finally we have an opening date. 17th of June is when Disneyland Paris will hopefully reopen, so exactly a month from today. Very exciting times. I think I'm just really happy to see finally all parks open again, hopefully, because all the other Disney parks around the world at this moment in time are open. Even Disneyland California managed to open back in April, so Disneyland Paris was the last one and everybody was just waiting for it patiently to have some kind of news, and we're here now. We have news. So today I'm here to talk about everything you need to know about the reopening of Disneyland Paris next month. I've noticed that there are loads of information and videos about the reopening of Disneyland Paris in French, but not very many in English, so I am here to tell you all you need to know about the park's opening in English, in case you're wondering. So firstly, as I mentioned already, Disneyland Paris is reopening on the 17th of June 2021, and with its reopening, both two parks will reopen. That is, of course, Disneyland Park as well as Walt Disney Studios. But as far as we're aware right now, they'll only have one of their Disney hotels open with its opening on the 17th of June, and that is Newport Bay. Newport Bay is the largest hotel in Disneyland Paris. It has the most amount of rooms, so it just makes sense to open that one rather than opening a bunch of smaller hotels that can't accommodate as many guests. Newport Bay should have enough space for everyone who wants to travel there, especially because, of course, with Disneyland Paris's reopening, for the first few months at least, they won't be operating at full capacity. They will have a limit, according to the French government, on how many people they can have in each park. So whilst I'm not sure of the exact amount of people that are going to be allowed in every park when it first reopens, I can guarantee you that it will be a lot more quiet than the parks would have been regularly around the summer months in June. There is already some information about when some of the other hotels in Disneyland Paris will open. I think Hotel Cheyenne is meant to reopen on the 1st of July, for instance, and then Sequoia Lodge is meant to be reopening in October, so a bit later on in the year, which makes sense because Sequoia Lodge I've always felt is more of an autumnal hotel anyway, so that's cool. However, I do need to talk about one other hotel that is going to be new in Disneyland Paris. I do this because it's not technically new, because it used to be another hotel before. They've just had a revamp of it. They've changed the theming of it. They've made it look a lot nicer, I'm not gonna lie, and that is, of course, Hotel New York Art of Marvel, which used to be just called Hotel New York. I was lucky enough to have stayed at the Hotel New York several times, and I actually really enjoyed it as it was. Like, I love New York, so I love the theming of it back in the days, but it was quite outdated, particularly towards the last few years of it. I think I last stayed there in 2017, just a few months before they started the renovations for it, and I noticed how old things were starting to look. So it definitely was in need of a revamp, and it looks incredible now. Like, I'm not even the biggest Marvel fan, but the photos, the videos that I've seen from the new hotel right now look so inviting. The rooms look incredible, so modern, so spacious. Like, I don't know how they managed to do that because they're basically the same rooms. They've just managed to make them look a lot bigger and better. The bars and restaurants at this hotel look so much cooler, and like, honestly, the hotel has now made me want to go and watch all the Marvel films and just throw myself into the universe and hopefully become a fan because it looks awesome. This hotel will be opening on the 21st of June 2021, so only a few days after the reopening of Disneyland Paris. Reservations have already gone live for this hotel, so if you want to book yourself a hotel room at Hotel New York Art of Marvel, I would highly recommend you do it soon, because I imagine availability, especially for the first few months of it opening, isn't going to be the best because this hotel is very hyped up. Like, people are really excited about it, and understandably so. This is going to be the first Disney hotel worldwide completely dedicated to the theme of Marvel, so that's a big deal in itself. You know, a lot of people love Marvel, and to have a whole hotel, you know, a whole Disney hotel dedicated to it is going to be an exciting thing for a lot of people, even me. It's worth knowing that this hotel is a 4-star hotel, and it used to be a 4-star hotel even before the renovations. You know, New York Hotel at Disneyland Paris was always a 4-star hotel, but of course, after the revamp that it's had, it's going to be even more expensive because the quality of it is going to be even higher. It's going to be closer to the Disneyland Hotel in terms of quality than it is to, for instance, Newport Bay. So yeah, the prices are probably going to be quite expensive. In fact, I have already booked myself a room for the opening date of the hotel, and I was quite shocked at how expensive it was, but I booked it anyway because I really want to be there, and I'm going to be there already, hopefully, fingers crossed, if things go well. So for me, it'll just be a case of moving hotels once this hotel opens, and you bet there are going to be many vlogs and videos about my time in Disneyland Paris and of this new hotel as well, room tours, all sorts of things. But yeah, I believe I read somewhere that if you book a stay at the Hotel New York Art of Marvel before July of this year, so in the next couple of months, you actually get an extra print, like a really cool print by an artist, included in your booking, as well as a free non-alcoholic beverage when you get to the hotel. So I don't know, I mean, it's not a lot, but it's something that they're offering offering to you something extra, which is always nice, you know. Whilst we've talked about this hotel, I do want to quickly touch on the Disneyland Hotel as well. So of course the Disneyland Hotel is currently under renovations. Everyone knows that. This hotel was planned to go under refurbishment for a long time now, and it has now officially started its renovations, which means that unfortunately the Disneyland Hotel won't be reopening anytime soon, but that's okay because from what I've seen from concept arts, it's gonna look incredible once it's returned, once this reopens again. The Disneyland Hotel is one of my favorite hotels of all time. I would say it's probably my favorite hotel ever in the whole world. I am so lucky to have stayed there again several times, and I cannot wait to see what they do to it because, again, as with the New York hotel, I do feel like the Disneyland Hotel needed a bit of a revamp as well. Like the last few times that I stayed there, I noticed that it just didn't feel as new as it could have done, and especially with little things, you know, like having USB places for you to charge your phones and stuff, because the hotel was made quite a long time ago, before the age of, you know, iPhones and whatnot. It was lacking a lot of those things that more modern hotels do have, so I'm looking forward to it a lot, both for practicality reasons and also for the theming, because as I said, from what I've seen, it's gonna look even better than it used to, and yeah, the Disneyland Hotel is just a wonderful hotel all around, so I cannot wait for it to reopen. It's gonna be amazing once it does. It's probably gonna be another few years though, let's be real, but I'm pretty sure it's gonna be ready before the Olympics are meant to be happening in Paris, so my guess is maybe 2023, but we'll see. Next, let's talk about what else is going to be new at Disneyland Paris once it reopens next month. So the first thing that is pretty exciting, I mean, not especially for me because I'm not the biggest Cars fan, but a lot of people are going to probably enjoy this attraction, and so am I. I mean, I'm curious to see what it's like, because basically, if you didn't know, the Studio Tram Tour in Walt Disney Studios again went under renovations a while ago. It was a very outdated attraction, let's be real. I liked it because it was nostalgic for me, but it did need a revamp, and yeah, they decided to turn it into a Cars attraction, and it has now been confirmed that the new Cars attraction in Walt Disney Studios will be opening at the same time at Disneyland Paris's reopening date on the 17th of June. So if you're lucky enough to be in Disneyland Paris on the 17th of June, you will get to experience this new attraction. Because it's not entirely a new attraction, it's just like a revamp of an old attraction with a retheming. You can expect more or less the same as what you did with the Studio Tram Tour, just with a lot of car stuff. And again, from some photos that I've seen, from some videos that I've seen, it does actually look really cool. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's going to be like in person. Buzz Lightyear's Laser Blast as well, if you're a big fan of that attraction, that will also be open once Disneyland Paris reopens next month, which is also quite exciting because that attraction has been closed in Disneyland Paris for quite a while. They've been meticulously renovating that ride as well, you know, making it look nicer from the exterior as well as the inside to make it more smooth. So yeah, you know, you can expect to be going on that ride again as well when the parks reopen. How do I feel about it? Not too excited, I'm not gonna lie, because I'm really bad on that ride. I'm like the worst, I can't score at all, but I do enjoy being on it just because of the Toy Story theme. So yeah, these are the two new, I suppose, attractions that you can expect once you return to Disneyland Paris. Now let's talk about safety regulations. So of course, we're still living in a pandemic. Like, let's not forget, even though things are thankfully starting to reopen again, it is important to still be careful, and yeah, you at the end of the day are in charge of your own health, so you need to be as careful as you can. And of course, with Disneyland Paris reopening, they have confirmed that all guests should be wearing masks, face masks, everywhere in the parks apart from when they're stationary and eating. So you can only take them off if you're literally at a restaurant about to eat your food. You can't take them off for photos, you can't take them off like when you're walking and drinking, no. Only when you're sat down somewhere stationary and you're like far away from people, you're social distancing from people, that's when you can take your mask off so you can put stuff in your mouth. That's literally the only time. Which is fine, that was to be expected because that was the case last year as well, in the few months that Disneyland Paris managed to reopen. Last year, between July and October, the rules were exactly the same, and I, like I said, was lucky enough to go to Disneyland Paris last October, and from what I could see, everyone was, you know, obeying the rules, nobody was taking the piss. So yeah, just be nice, respect the rules. It's just a mask at the end of the day, put it on. It protects you, it protects other people as well, and it's what Disney wants. Disney wants people to feel safe and protected, at least for now. This isn't going to be a long-term thing. Hopefully eventually, you know, the parks can go back to being normal as they were before, but for now you do need to wear a mask, and the masks are mandatory for anyone aged 6 and up. So if you're thinking of going with your children and you have a child who is 6 years old, you're going to have to try and get them to get used to the idea of wearing a mask in a Disneyland park constantly. Yeah, this is still better than what Disney World did in Florida, because the rules in Florida back when Disney World first opened said that anyone above the age of 2 had to wear a mask. So even 2-year-old babies, I suppose, or toddlers, had to wear masks. At least with Disneyland Paris, it's only children aged 6 and up, which I think is a bit more manageable. But again, I don't have kids, so thankfully I don't have to worry about any of this. I just have to worry about myself, and I have no problem whatsoever wearing a mask. So yeah, that's the mask thing. Social distancing will also be encouraged, of course, because it's still all very new. Like I said, this is Disneyland Paris reopening after a long time of being closed, and they also have to listen to what the French government says, the French government guidelines. So yeah, you can expect things to be like this at least for a while, at least for a few months, until hopefully things can get better. In terms of entertainment available in Disneyland Paris, they have confirmed that there will be selfie spots a lot, like everywhere. That was actually one of my favorite things about my visit to Disneyland Paris last October. The amount of characters I could just meet easily just by like going up to them and taking a selfie from a distance, you know, being safe. It made the character interactions in a way a little bit more fun, because you couldn't go up to them, you couldn't get too close to them for like a hug or whatever, which meant that they put more effort into actually interacting with you, which is one of my favorite things about meeting characters anyway. Even before this whole situation, when I used to meet characters, I would try and spend some time actually like interacting with them, because that's more fun to me than just taking a picture and that's it. So yeah, Disneyland Paris realized how popular these selfie spots were last year, and because of that they are obviously bringing them back. They have actually said that they'll be adding some new ones as well, maybe some Star Wars characters as well. So yeah, you can expect a lot of fun character meets from a safe distance. I promise you, I have done this already. It's not as weird as you might think. It can actually be really fun. Of course, it's not the same as, you know, getting close to Mickey and, you know, hugging him, but it's still a fun interaction, and it's still a fun little souvenir, like photo selfie that you can take. So yeah, I myself, I'm happy about this. As well as the selfie spots, there will be a cavalcade. I believe the cavalcade is going to be Alice in Wonderland themed, and it's going to be running at random times in the Disneyland park throughout the day. So it's going to have like Alice in Wonderland characters on it. And when I say a cavalcade, it's basically like the small train that they've used before in Disneyland Paris. They've used it for Swing Into Spring. They've used it for the 25th anniversary. I think they did something with it. So it's obviously not a parade. It's just like a little train that goes around with characters on it. Again, that's pretty standard practice for Disney parks. I think Disney World did something similar when they first reopened as well. So that's something to look forward to. Of course, it's not a full-on parade, and I do really miss the parade, but it's still fun to just know that there'll be characters kind of wandering around the parks on a little train throughout the day to bring some magic into your lives. In terms of fireworks, now that is a big one. Nothing has been said about the return of fireworks so far whatsoever, but if I were to do an educated guess, and bear in mind it's just a guess, I don't think fireworks will come back to Disneyland Paris until next year. And the reason for that is that the castle, the Sleeping Beauty castle, is currently also under renovations, and if you didn't know, the fireworks in Disneyland Paris normally happen by the castle, around the castle. So if the castle is, you know, currently being worked on, they can't really have fireworks anyway, which means that I feel like even if the pandemic wasn't happening, they probably wouldn't be having their regular fireworks. They might have eventually brought out like an alternative version of fireworks, but it wouldn't have been Illuminations anyway, because it wouldn't have been possible, because the castle is currently under renovation, so they couldn't have had the projections on the castle even if they wanted to. So yeah, if you're someone who really wants to see like traditional fireworks at Disneyland Paris, I wouldn't book to go anytime soon. I'd wait until their 30th anniversary next April, because I believe that is when they're hoping to have the castle done by. So either by April of next year or a few months before that, the castle should be, you know, back to how it was before, even looking nicer, and that will mean that they can have fireworks around it again like they used to. But of course, the fireworks situation also depends on what the French government says, because fireworks do attract crowds, and so because of the pandemic, things might be ever changing anyway. So let's just have our fingers crossed that by next April things will be okay, at least in terms of the pandemic, so that Disneyland Paris can safely have fireworks again. I really miss them. I don't miss Illuminations though, and actually one thing that I'm kind of happy about is that, again, I personally don't believe that Illuminations will come back. Illuminations was a nighttime show at Disneyland Paris from 2017 until just before the pandemic started and the parks had to close. It opened in Disneyland Paris at the start of the 25th anniversary celebrations, and I personally wasn't the biggest fan of it. Like, it was a good show, but it was nothing compared to the prior show, which was Disney Dreams. And I personally think and really strongly hope that once Disneyland Paris's castle is back to looking phenomenal next April before its anniversary, they will reintroduce the castle to us with a new nighttime show, hopefully, one that isn't Illuminations. So yeah, I feel like we can comfortably say goodbye to Illuminations and expect something new and different once the castle is back to normal again, which I personally am very excited about, and I think most Disneyland Paris fans would agree with me. But of course, we're just gonna have to wait and see. Now, the last thing I want to talk about in this video is tickets and how to buy them. It is important to buy your tickets in advance online, because you won't be able to buy tickets at the gates, you know, in the parks as you used to be able to before the pandemic. Disney wants to be able to know now how many guests they can expect every day, so it's not as easy as it used to be for you to just walk up and be like, I want a ticket for today. You do have to make reservations for the days that you want to go into the parks as well, but it's easy to book them online, absolutely easy, especially with like packages if you want to book a hotel as well. Disney have also stated that you are allowed to cancel or make amends to your booking up to to 3 days before the day that your reservation starts, so you don't have to worry about, you know, things going wrong. You know, if you like have a COVID test and somehow end up being positive and then you can't actually visit, you're absolutely okay to change your booking free of charge up to 3 days before the booking happens. So that is good. That's really nice of Disney. You know, it kind of makes you realize that you can book with confidence because they are flexible and they will work with you, because everyone's aware, like the whole world knows that things are very unpredictable right now, so they will be understanding, which is great. With annual passes as well, I'm an annual pass holder, of course, and they have said that they will add on the exact amount of dates that the parks was closed to your annual pass. So for instance, my annual pass was meant to have expired last September of 2020. That obviously didn't happen because I managed to use it for my October trip last year, because they had already added some dates to it, and ever since Disneyland Paris had to close again at the end of October, they've now added more dates to it. So yeah, if you're an annual pass holder, don't worry, you know, more information should come to us hopefully soon. Disneyland Paris will always make sure they do their absolute best to make everyone feel welcome, especially like I suppose their biggest fans, the ones who go the most often, the annual pass holders. So yeah, whilst there isn't a lot of information yet, they have promised that yeah, they'll make sure that we are okay with our annual passes, so that's good to know. I want to end this video by announcing that I am hoping to go to Disneyland Paris next month for its opening, and as I said, I do also already have a booking for Hotel New York, Art of Marvel, for that opening as well on the 21st of June, and I'm very excited about it. It is worth mentioning that currently speaking, France is considered an amber country according to the UK government, which means that if you go to France, once you return, you do have to make sure to quarantine for 10 days and take tests and everything. That's fine, you know, personally for me, I'm very lucky that I work from home, so I don't have to worry about missing, you know, my work or anything. I can easily quarantine when I come back from France, but make sure to double check the rules if you are somebody who can't quarantine, because the UK government has said that they'll be reviewing all the countries, I think every few weeks or so, and so who knows, by the time next month comes, by the time the summer holidays come, maybe France will no longer be on the amber list, and we might be able to move up to the green list. It's so weird that we talk about countries in this way now, but yeah, once it's on a green list, it means that you don't have to worry about quarantining when you come back to the UK. You just have to take a test, which of course is a lot more easy for most people than having to stay home for 10 days. It is also worth mentioning that France also has its own rules. So currently speaking, the French government has said that anyone traveling to France from any country that is not within the EU, which unfortunately the UK is one of them now thanks to Brexit, people do have to quarantine in France for 7 days once they enter France from the UK before they're allowed to, you know, go anywhere. So you need to bear that in mind as well. Of course, this is also something that can change, so if you're planning to go to Disneyland Paris this summer or any time in 2021, make sure you're constantly checking both the UK rules as well as the French rules, because things will be changing constantly, like literally constantly. I for one won't be traveling to France from the UK because, as some of you probably already know, I have family in Austria. My granddad lives there, my aunt and cousin live there, I used to live there myself, my passport is Austrian, I'm an Austrian citizen. So for a long time I'd been planning and hoping to visit, you know, Austria anyway. I was waiting for the 17th of May date when traveling became allowed again to book a trip to Austria to go and, you know, visit my family. And so hopefully, if everything goes to plan, I will already be in Austria by the time I'm going to be going to Paris, if that makes sense. So I'll probably already be in Austria for like 10 days or so, maybe even longer. And so that means that I'll be flying to France from Austria, which means that I won't have to quarantine in France because Austria is an EU country. And like I said, the current French regulations do say that if you're coming into France from an EU country, you don't have to quarantine, you just have to take a test. So that's my plan. I am very lucky that I can do this. It's just worked out quite perfectly with my plans for this summer anyway, because as I said, I was planning to go to Austria and stay there for a while anyway, as soon as I could. So yeah, I'm going to be based in Austria for a while this summer. I'm just going to Paris from there and coming back, and hopefully all will be good. Who knows though, you know, nothing is guaranteed in this day and age. So even though I've told you right now that I am hoping to go to Disneyland Paris next month, I'm very aware that things could very much change last minute. Anything could happen. We could have another wave, you know, there could be new variants, you know, cases could go like extremely up. France might just be like, no, we don't want anyone in at all. Disneyland Paris might actually have to change its opening date. I really hope it doesn't. I hope everything goes to plan, but yeah, just know that things can always change, and I should hopefully fingers crossed, be double vaccinated by the time Disneyland Paris reopens as well. As I said, because I'm an Austrian citizen and I will be in Austria hopefully for a while before the parks reopen, I might be able to get my second vaccination done in Austria, just depending on the situation. I've already been vaccinated. I've had my first dose, I had it last week, so yeah, just waiting on my second one. But to be honest, even with just the first dose, I do feel weirdly a lot safer than I did without the vaccine. So yeah, that is all I have to say. If I've forgotten anything, feel free to leave comments down below and ask me any questions that you have. Obviously, I don't work for Disney, so I can't guarantee that I'll have the answers to every question that you have, but I'll try my best, you know. At the end of the day, I am someone who's gone to Disneyland Paris way too much for her own good, but I don't mind. I'm proud of it. I love Disneyland Paris and I cannot wait. Like, I'm actually so excited to hopefully be able to go back next month, and of course bring you lots of new content, lots of new vlogs. Like, I'll be vlogging traditionally as I used to do before all this, you know, day by day vlogs, as well as like a full-on room tour, a hotel tour hopefully of the new hotel at Marvel. I'm excited. I am really excited. So yeah, let me know what you think of all this. Are you excited about Disneyland Paris reopening? Are you hoping to go to Disneyland Paris at all this year? I do hope that things will get better as the year moves on, so hopefully towards the end of the year it might be easier to travel there and a bit more safe as well. When I say safe, I don't mean in terms of Disney, because I think Disney, honestly, they do their best in terms of health and safety. I experienced it myself last year when I went there in October, and it was so safe. Like, the cast members worked so hard. I felt safer at Disney than I had anywhere in the UK. So yeah, by safe I just mean in terms of predictability. Like, hopefully as the months keep moving forward, you will be able to book holidays with more certainty that they will go ahead, because I realize not everyone is in the same boots as me. Like, I'm okay with booking, you know, holidays here and there, last minute holidays, with the full knowledge that it might not go ahead. But like, if you're a family, if you've got kids and you want to surprise your kids with a holiday, it's a bit more difficult to, for instance, tell them about a holiday that might not happen, because kids might not fully understand that and they'll just be disappointed. Or if you work, for instance, and it's hard to get like some time off from your work, again, I realize that it's going to be much harder to book holidays that you don't know for sure if they'll happen or not. So that's what I mean by the term safe, that hopefully things will become safer in the future in terms of your confidence in whether or not a holiday is actually going to happen. But yeah, I've been talking for ages. Thank you so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram if you want more information as well. Like, I tend to reply to my DMs on Instagram all the time, to be honest. So if you have any questions that you want to ask me there as well, feel free to do so. Thank you for watching and bye bye.